Alright, we've done a couple of labs on density and we've done a few worksheets on density, how to solve density problems, but just want to do a little demonstration to sort of maybe help us understand what density means. We got a graph here of mass versus volume for us, grams per milliliter, and we're going to do it with a few different liquids here. I'm going to put about 10 mils of water colored with some red food coloring, and water is sort of the basis of the metric system and of density, and I'm just going to draw the mass per volume graph of water is going to be something like that. And it's 1 gram per milliliter. That's the part of the basis of the metric system, is that water is the basic unit. Each milliliter is 1 gram. I'm going to add I have some corn syrup here colored with blue food coloring just to make it pretty and so that we can see what's going on here. Pour that into the water and see which is more dense and which is less dense. I think it's pretty obvious to see that the corn syrup is certainly more dense than the water. So for every milliliter, the corn syrup has more mass. Its line is steeper, it has a higher slope. And we can try other things like have a little bit of methanol here, rubbing alcohol, colored green, just to make it stand out. Try not to mix it too much in here, because water and alcohol will mix together. And I think that's also pretty easy to see that the corn syrup is the most dense. It has the most stuff in it in the same volume, and then water, and then the lightest is methanol. So its mass per volume is going to be less. And let me start to sort of differentiate this with our particle diagrams. We're going to just give water a certain number of particles in this volume here. And since we had the corn syrup as having a greater density, that means for us we're going to say the corn syrup has more particles in the same volume. If water had 5, we're going to give the corn syrup 6, 7, something like that, as long as it shows more. And the methanol down here, I'll leave a space. If water had 5, then methanol is going to have somewhat less than 5. 1, 2, 3, something like that. I'll try another one here, just a little bit of vegetable oil. And we'll pour that in and see how that works around in there. Again, be visually easy to understand this. The corn syrup has the greatest density, then the water, and then lighter than water is vegetable oil. Everybody's seen oil floating on the surface of water. That's because it has less vegetable oil, has fewer particles than water in the same volume, but more than methanol. So between 5 and 2, we can choose 3 or 4. It's going to be fine. And our line here, the vegetable oil is going to go right up there between methanol and water as far as density. And we can put anything in there, solids, liquids. We just want to see that this is just a piece of aluminum from our density of solids lab last week. And once it's all done mixing up there and settles out again, we can see that the piece of aluminum is certainly more dense. So in the same volume, the aluminum has more particles than the water or the corn syrup or any of the other materials. So this was 2, 4, 5, 7, put 8 or 9 in here for the aluminum.